Where you going?
I think we'll be here for a while. Baseball game. Take that out. All right, we'll call the meeting to order, the committee meeting for the Ellwood City Area School District. It is Monday, June 15th. We'll start off by going to visitors.
Bob Penny, no comment.
All right. Members of the press identify themselves, please.
Eric Poole, Ellwood City Ledger.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we'll turn it over to Rich here to start for revenue and finance.
Okay. Should we let Steve go first?
Sure.
Get him involved here? We received asphalt and north side carpet bids today. And I'm gonna try to get a copy to each of the bids and how they came in. A little bit disappointing, to be honest with you. So we put specifications together, we sent bid packages out to various vendors, and starting off with the Perry asphalt, we put, again, the packages out, we got 3 back, and what we thought was going to be a $33,000 job came back, low bid at $59,775. I don't know whether it's the time of year, maybe we got a late start on it because we're waiting to get some budget stuff done. I don't know what the rationale is for that, but that's how they came back. But I think we talk about these in combination, maybe we can come to some kind of an agreement to do something, or maybe we hold off and do nothing. If you flip to the second page, you can see the north side carpet project. We received 2 bids. Continental Commercial Floors was at $114,250, and Franny out of Wampum was at $95,444. And I think what happened here is that this became a prevailing wage job because it was over $25,000. When we got the initial budget figures, the vendor we got the budget from did not consider the prevailing wage figures. So when it's all said and done, we have $74,000 budgeted for carpet. We have $33,000 budgeted for paving. So I don't know if the board would want to wait until June. We could rebid this stuff in May of 2016 for award in June and see if we get more vendors involved, more competition. Award these at that point in time, or if you want to move forward with one project to the other. Again, you have $74,000 for carpet, $33,000 for paving. You would have enough to do the carpet project, and obviously you would have enough to do the paving project. You would also have enough to do one section of the paving, which we would consider to be the area B, would be the bigger area. So we'd recommend, if you were going to go that direction, that we go with the playground and driveway at Perry. We would have adequate funds budgeted to handle that portion of the project. So I'm not really sure, where we want to go with this thing. So we're kind of looking for some direction. Steve is here to answer any questions that you may have from a technical type of standpoint.
I have one question about the carpeting. Is it that we are in dire need of having it replaced?
It's horrible would be a good statement for it, But we need a parking lot too, they're both really bad. That's why I tried to get them both in. I couldn't help that the bid, the guys that did the estimates for us for budget purposes didn't help us a whole lot with these low estimates, but they're both bad. As far as which one to do, it's a coin toss, The kids play in the parking lot out of Perry a lot.
Right.
And we're constantly walking in the school over the north side, and it's the smelling sometimes. It's a tough call for you guys. I really couldn't tell you which one was more important. They're both important.
We did send out several bid packages to carpet and flooring people. And when we only had one show up at the pre-bid meeting, I called those people that we sent the packages to, and I said, well, why not? And they said it was late in the year for them. For the most part, they were already booked for the summer work. So, from the carpeting perspective, again, we have $74,000 in the budget. I'm not saying that we could whittle that down to that number, but there would be a whole lot more bidders come the spring of the year if we did this April, May for an award in June. And I'm not so sure the paving is really gonna make that much of a difference. But a lot of bidders did not bid carpet because, again, they were booked for the summer.
Is that what we're doing, is putting carpet in there? I thought we were going.
No, we're gonna tear the carpet out and put a linoleum type item in there, you know, it could be 12 by 12s. Actually, the one guy suggested us maybe going that way instead of one solid piece like we have in the multi-purpose rooms. Which one's better, I don't know, because we have the 12 by 12 squares in Hartman in the hallways, and it's holding up okay. We had the linoleum type stuff at Walnut Ridge, and it held up okay. You know, I mean, so they're all good items, you know, it's just a matter of preference, I guess, you know.
Price is the same between the squares and?
I don't think so, no, I didn't really look at the square, remember when he said the 12 by 12s, and because we didn't bid that, so we would have to rebid it if we changed it.
Well, he submitted it as an alternate.
Yeah,
The one thing that the one vendor did mention, again, I would have to defer to Mr. Carey whether it would be something we could consider or not. We spec the blue color, a blue marble of some sort that matches what's already over there. And he indicated because of the dyes and the materials that go into that blue, it's quite a bit more expensive. I mean, if we looked at an alternate color, I mean, he indicated a $10,000 to $12,000 savings. So, again, I don't know if that's something we could consider at this point.
Have to rebid it.
We bid it blue, so we have to rebid the.
yeah. See, and then another food for thought that just came to me right now, the playground paving, the kids aren't gonna be on that all year long. They're gonna be on this carpet that's not gonna be there anymore all year long, you know. I don't know how we could, like we have a rough idea how much the paving's gonna be now, you know. So I don't know how this part of the business works, but something to think about, maybe we could do the north side school, because that's where the kids are actually at, you know, and then hold off on the paving till early spring, but somehow get it going earlier than what we did this year, even though it's not in the budget, like we want to put it in next year's budget, but we want to get the ball rolling before next year's budget, if that's even possible. I don't know if that's even possible.
Well, what about even later? You would think that right now is prime time for these people that are doing asphalt work. What if we waited until late fall? I mean, could we maybe,
That's their busiest time.
you think?
Yeah, it is, because they have to get all in projects, that's why the borough holds off till the last minute.
There.
Steve, how's the floor at Hartman in the cafeteria and the gym?
They're good. We have an occasional piece that'll loosen up and pick up. Like the one over the north side, we have a little 1-inch, 2-inch strip, about 10 foot long, that they just showed me today that's loose. But we can re-glue that and lay that down. That's a quick fix, you know. So
So these are the only two companies that can do the work this summer.
Yes.
But if we can save $12,000 on a color, I mean, I think that's a lot of money and that's something that should be done. I mean, that's too much to sneeze at. But that means a new bid.
Yeah, what we'd have to do is bid it in March, April for an award in June so that they could do it as soon as school's out next year.
Is that realistic to go a whole year without?
There's no way they can do it
without
this summer.
doing the carpet job. It was bad last year too. I mean, we could go again, you know. It's just a wish list item that needs done really bad, that's all, you know. That's the same with the parking lot. The parking lot was bad last year too. You know, they're both really bad items that we should have fixed last year and we didn't. And they're not any worse this year than they were last year, but they're both very bad, if that makes any sense, you know.
The carpeting at north side has to be full of mold.
That's what we're thinking. Maybe not, that might be an exaggeration there, you know.
A lot of mold.
But it's like in your basement, if you put carpet in your basement, it's gonna get a smell to it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's got mold in it, but it's gonna have a smell, you know.
There's no way to get a bid quicker, that we can still get it done this summer with those different
And
colors.
we're pushing it as it is because I believe on this stuff, there's a lead time of 4 to 6 weeks. So if you awarded Thursday and you, at the outside, had a lead time of 6 weeks on the materials, you're looking at early part of August coming in, then you're looking at a 2-week project to pull the carpet that's over there and lay this back down. Now, August 14th is what the bid says it has to be done. There would still be a few days extra that they could have because the teachers won't be coming back till, I guess, the end of the following week. But, I mean, there's really, and then we looked at Christmas, we talked about potentially trying to get it done over the Christmas holiday, but again, it's a big enough job, 10,000 square feet of flooring, that just the way the holidays fall, that there's not a straight period of time where they could have their men here without running in or bumping up against the holiday.
And you don't think that they, because this is such a big job, that they would do a bid quick enough to get it on Thursday's agenda, just changing the color?
And I have to seal, this is sealed bids, this is
Oh.
advertising once a week for 3 weeks in 2 newspapers and the whole thing.
So just changing the color, we can't use the 2 companies that we have and just ask them for a color difference?
You know, because somebody may not have bid because they couldn't
Get the blue?
make a, you know, a reasonable bid for a blue, so.
Trish, is there any way to, or Steve, any way to get it done in sections? Like go in on the weekend and do a section?
have to
Yeah, but you'd have to keep your bids down to, and I don't know the minimum off the top of my head, where we could get like 3 bids at a section. You know, and I think is it $18,000 where we don't have to advertise?
And there's school code also, and again, I would refer to Mr. DeCara, that you can't split bids up to avoid the sealed bid process. I mean, I would think that that's kind of what we might be doing if we tried to go that road.
I mean, you could say in the bid specs that you
Or
wanted to
we
do
go
it
on the weekends.
over the weekends.
We'd probably get more bids then too, if it was gonna be later.
I don't know, though, I mean, they have to bring people out.
And pay time and a half, double time and a half.
Rich,
Yes.
what's the difference between money budgeted and what it would actually cost for both these projects?
To do both projects?
174, 21.
Well, we're 60 and 95, so that's 155 versus 74 and 30, 104. So we're about $51,000 beyond where we want to be.
No, it's been our experience too, the longer you put these things off, the more they go
Well,
up.
because I don't really believe in saving money by waiting until next year. Take a chance.
Yeah, I know I was very disappointed in these bids when they come in. I just was kind of hoping to get them both, but. you know,
We waited too long. Please.
I think we need to move forward with the north side at least. I mean, as much as you hate to, I mean, I guess we don't really know whether it was just we were estimating low or they came in high and who knows what's
Well, I
gonna
think
happen the
that
next time.
We worked with the local vendor for the estimate. The person did not consider prevailing wage. And that's what, you have to go to the state, I gotta get the prevailing wages, and that's different than what,
But, I mean, doesn't mean it's gonna be any lower if we put it off. As a matter of fact, it's gonna.
the only thing that I would
go up.
assume would happen is you might have more competitors. Now, whether that pushes the price down or not, I mean, these guys didn't know who was bidding against, so, yeah, I don't know.
And the color, I mean, you think the color will make a
I was
difference?
told by one vendor that the color, again, there's 3 levels of color choices, and this particular choice was a little more expensive. Materials, dyes are what it is, but he indicated to me it was more expensive.
What is the color?
I can go get them. They're in my office.
I mean, is
I can get it 2 seconds.
that so significant?
Yeah, it was a blue and a white, kind of trying to stay with the Ellwood colors. You know, I can go get them in a minute.
How bad is the parking lot, Barry?
The parking lot's bad too.
I mean, is it that bad that we can't go through with patch process?
That's what we did
I-
last year.
Yeah, I've been
Well, I'm
patching.
just thinking about the playground area, because that's where the kids are gonna be.
Yeah.
I was thinking about maybe the playground area and do the carpeting,
That's what I was thinking also.
Yeah.
if we could get away with patching the parking lot.
So this area A is back in where they're parking.
Under the trees and stuff, you know, in that area, in a little U.
So when you pull into the thing, you're going to the left.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was kind of like just a bonus thing because that section of the parking lot really isn't that bad.
Right.
And the kids don't play over there at all. You know, it's just basically teacher parking. So, you know, if you're going to cut one of the 3 items, that would be the one to cut. You know,
That's what I
I,
was thinking.
yeah. I
and then
agree.
we could always do it at a later date too.
Right.
You know, That's part of the reason why we split it in half like that, just to, in case we didn't want to do the whole thing at one time, you know.
I agree with you, Buzz. I think if we put that area A off and move forward with area B and then the carpet, I just don't think we'll put those things off. I just don't know we're gonna realize that much savings by waiting, because costs are only gonna go up.
Yeah, I had pictures here, the last board meeting of the parking lot. I don't know where they went, but it is bad.
I've
It's
been-
I was
bad.
just wondering if we could get through with a patch job until.
We patch it every year, and then the winter takes the patch right out.
Right, I can
You know,
see that.
so it's like a short-lived item.
Playground needs done. I mean, not that the parking lot doesn't, but it is just a park.
Mhm.
Right.
All right, so what are the wishes of the board here?
I say do the north side project, do the paving like the parking lot.
I'm in favor of that.
North side, playground.
North side playground.
I think that's what we want.
Okay, so we'll have the motions prepared to reflect that on Thursday.
Disappointing, but there it goes.
Thank you, Steve. Now moving back to revenue and finance, we'll have our regular financial reports on Thursday. We'll have tax collector exonerations. These are the taxes that are turned over to Lawrence County tax claim that the tax collectors don't collect, so they need to be exonerated or forgiven from collecting those. Investments, every year under the school code, I need authorization to make investments with the funds that we receive. So we'll be asking for authorization to do that on Thursday, and it's with the usual cast of companies, PSDLAF, Pliget, PA Invest, now West Banco, Huntington Bank, and PNC Bank. Budgetary transfers, again, under the school code, we're authorized to make transfers so we don't overspend any particular function area. So we're asking for authorization to do that on Thursday evening. We will have the 15-16 budgets, both general fund and capital reserve fund budgets for the board to consider on Thursday. No changes at all from the preliminary budget. The tax duplicate, these are figures that are prepared by the Lawrence County Data Center. They send them down, we'll get them approved and charge them off to the local tax collectors for collection. Ultimately, though, after the bills are printed in August, it seems like things change from June to when we actually print the bills in a week or two. So we'll come back with an amended duplicate, which shouldn't be too awful different, but it will reflect actual numbers. We'll have the tax resolutions, which set the rates for the 15-16 school year. These include both property tax per capita, and then we also reauthorize the earned income and the LST resolutions that were passed back in 1978. I put the tax installment resolution on the agenda each year just as a reminder that we do collect taxes, property taxes. We'll accept 3 installments, and then the due dates are August 31, September 30, and October 31, and we maintain the penalty of 10%. We won't submit that for your consideration Thursday because it was done, but again, just for new board members as they come on to make them aware. The homestead farmstead exclusion resolution, this is a result of the gambling revenue that we receive from the state. Everybody that's applied for and received an exclusion gets $11,057 off of their assessed value, which equates to about $183.10 tax break for 15-16. Fund balance resolution, again, something we do every June. There's a school code that requires a certain amount of it be assigned fund balance and unassigned fund balance, with the unassigned being the smaller amount. Our assigned fund balance is for post-employment benefits and the PSERS spike. I did put the insurance out, not 100% for bid, but we did see competitive rates from various companies through our agent. We received several, and we're recommending that we stay with Liberty Mutual on our package policy, and we're recommending that we stay with Highmark on our workers' compensation. When it's all said and done, it was about a 2% increase over last year, and that's considering that we had some property value increases with materials and equipment we purchased, and salary increases would push the workers' compensation a little bit higher. So I think we did pretty well on our insurance rates. Medical insurance, those rates went up 2.75%, which is really good compared to what's out there in the industry. We have had some changes to our coverage. We still have a PPO, but now we're offering what's called an exclusive provider organization. This is basically an HMO, but now if an employee goes to a local Highmark or a local Blue Cross Blue Shield and/or a Blue Cross Blue Shield out of state, it's covered as if it's in-network. So in the old days, they couldn't travel to Ohio or Florida and have in-network coverage. Now they've done it, and what it really is doing is pushing our people to Highmark providers and facilities. It makes it a little bit less expensive on the experience situation. Life insurance, again, we have rates that are good through June 30, 2017. I just put it on the agenda so that you're aware that we're paying .147 for the life insurance and 2 cents per thousand for accidental death and dismemberment, and we pay 71 cents per thousand for our retirees. Dental rates, we're a self-funded dental insurance program, so we don't really pay rates. I mean, we have rates established that we pay into so that we have funds available for it, but I pay an invoice on a weekly basis. What we're asking authorization for here is an administrative fee that we pay to Delta Dental for them to administer the claims for us as well as to use their network. We haven't had an increase for several years. This year they're asking for a 15-cent increase from $435 to $450 per person per month. It equates to about $423 per year, and it's good for 2 years, 2-year rate. Long-term disability, this is the disability insurance we provide to our SEIU staff. It's $8.25 per month, and we haven't had an increase in that particular rate for probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So we'll recommend that the board accept that. Contract to sell meals, we do work with the Lawrence County Social Services for our pre-K programs. We provide about 40 meals a day, and per the PDE, we have to have a contract in place with them to provide those meals. Prices are remaining the same at $2.55 for a lunch and $1.30 for breakfast. School district auditor, in June of each year, we appoint an auditor, and we're recommending we stay with the Philip Weiner Company. They've been with us for many years. They do a very exhaustively good job in looking at everything. They've gone through peer review, and they come through that with flying colors each and every time they go through it. So, again, we're recommending we stay with them.
Excuse me, Rich. On 16, the lunches, I thought we just increased the lunch prices.
I'm sorry, which one?
Number 16.
That's for the contract to sell meals. That's what the pre-K group is going to be paying.
Okay, so
We
they
did
don't.
it, this doesn't come into play with them. This is
Okay.
something different. Overdrive School Digital Library. I mean, I can defer to Joe, but I think I know enough to get through this one. We pay $1,400 or $1,500 to the intermediate unit in Beaver County, which gives us access to ebooks and a lot of other resources online that kids can go and download for free. So each year we renew this, and it gives kids an opportunity. I guess they can download it to whatever apparatus they want. A group of librarians in the intermediate unit sit down and decide what books would be made available, so it's all for kid type reading. It gives them access all the time, including summer, I guess, at the beach. Number 19, continuing disclosure. You may remember that we went through something a year or so ago where the Securities and Exchange Commission was cracking down because school districts weren't letting the bondholders know of things that were going on that might affect the value of their bonds. We came through that in flying colors, but it was recommended that we put monitoring procedures in place. So we'll have on Thursday evening procedures for the board to consider, which will be one more safeguard for us to make sure we're doing what we need to do. And that's it under finance, revenue and finance.
Mr. Zarana.
Yes, sir.
Comment on number 9, the homestead debt exclusion resolution.
Yes, sir.
That Taxpayer Relief Act, known as Act 1 of 2006, was legalized gambling in Pennsylvania and was sold as some of the revenue realized from that gambling was going to finance public education. We all know how that turned out.
Is
I
that,
guess it'd be
I'm sorry.
a lesson to be wary of new tax plans and finance public education.
Rich, is that an increase or the same as what has been in last?
I think that's actually a small increase because it seems like there was a lot of transition of properties. So it seemed whenever there's a transition of a property, that exclusion is gone. They have to reapply. So I think it went up. It definitely went up because there are less people that are receiving the exclusion this year. And I'm not 100% sure of the reason, but there are definitely less approved homestead, farmstead applications this year.
Thank you.
Okay, personnel will do an executive. Properties and transportation, you want me to read all these? The first three were already approved, because they happened in between the last meetings. The basketball game that they held. Also the parking over there on Ewing Park, and also Mrs. Gibson for the North Side. Are there any questions on any of the other ones?
I don't know who to address this question to, but I was reading over the list of the dates for Helling Stadium football. Yeah, and there's a conflict with one of them. And I know that I was at the Powder Puff game last year, and it was so cold. What would be the downside of them going in September, which the stadium is wide open? I would think nicer weather, better crowd, more money.
It's boosters, that's cheering boosters when they schedule it. I could ask, I could find out. what-
It just
It's
kind of
that
kills two
conflict.
birds with one stone, because I'm looking at what happens if there's a rain date. Now they're asking for October 10th as the rain date, and we're already approving the Little Wolverines to host the game.
Might be another
If it
conflict.
rains, now what happens?
I could ask. See if they can switch. I'm not sure why they do it. If it's
I'm just
practices
wondering, do
or-
they even realize that, hey, the field's wide open in September? I mean, I'm not,
Yeah, I
like,
don't
do
know.
they even know that there's a
I don't know if
conflict?
it's because of their cheering and they have practices and, the
Yeah.
girls go out and practice, so.
Yeah.
So I'll ask.
I have a question. Why did Chris not request this in a suitable time?
The letter C,
Yes.
I think, they weren't sure, because the person who's running that is an AmeriCorps worker, and she was, working on her dates and times for the summer. She was actually on vacation for a week, and then they didn't get those finalized when she could actually be there to run those, because that's part of her hours as an AmeriCorps worker. Like, that's all volunteer time by her in that program, so, I don't know if that answered your question, but.
Yeah, because I'm not crazy about all these polling. In fact, I didn't even get polled from Miss Gibson's thing. But, because we had it, they had it applying before it occurred.
Right.
And it just seems to be building back to, oh, one more thing. 'Cause I thought we had said if they didn't do it in time, they didn't do it. Because as long as we keep caving for all these, like, when you figure there's 1, 2, 3, 4 that weren't done in time, when you include the basketball camp.
That's just what this month.
I just think they need to be responsible and get it in on time. If it keeps up, I'm just gonna start saying no.
I mean, it benefited students, so.
I understand
Yeah.
that, but it's getting ridiculous. I mean, they're professionals, they should know how to plan.
Question on E. It's questioning use of Ewing Park School property. Hold an outdoor summer yoga series weekly on Sundays at 9 a.m. Is that against our Sunday policy usage?
We have a Sunday usage.
Mhm.
I didn't know about that.
Let's start Friday.
Is that any group outside, is that school groups, or is that practices? No, I can't remember, is that that policy, is that all?
It's
they're
part of
using?
your facility use policy, I think. I don't think it's particularly Sunday policy, it's just part of your facility use, I think, says on Sundays it's after.
So, yeah.
We've done that for like the dance groups.
Yeah, there was a, I think I put it in my weekly update, Bill Caraway, use of, I guess there was a girls adult slow pitch league got canceled up at Steeple Park. And so that gave the little softball league more access to the field. And they would like to use the temporary fence that we own. We took it down already, I believe.
And they put it up.
What?
Yeah.
And they
Oh,
put
it's
it back up.
Back
Okay. Not us. And also the shed and press box for this season. So-
Is the shed and press box ours?
Yes.
Yes.
Kinda, the press box isn't ours, the shed is ours. We paid for the shed, if I remember, it's been a couple of years now, but I think we paid for the shed. Press box was built years ago,
So the borough owns the shed.
yes.
I guess the big thing is the fence too. I didn't know it was already up.
Well, yeah, they don't, and I called Gary and said, how'd that fence get put back up? You know, I mean, number one, you gotta have more permission to use our stuff, you know, and number two, who's gonna replace it? Because if they fall into the fence, they break the posts and things, which is minor, you know, but I stock them things, and I don't need to find out at the beginning of girls softball that they broke them all in the fall, and now I need them at the last minute, you know? So I told him, you gotta do things right. So I told him, take it down. That's probably why he called you right away and said, I don't wanna take it down, so.
Well, it's not a school sanctioned activity, it's an intramural thing. So why would Gary get involved with it?
I think they just asked him. I'm not sure. They-
I think Garway's a coach too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Gary got involved because
You say you timed it.
he's the school representative of all our stuff in that shed. Since he's the coach.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So then put that on there for Thursday, I guess.
But how can we give permission for something we don't
I didn't
own?
know it was up.
The fence is
The
what you're
fence,
after.
yeah, but
Yeah,
the
the
shed's
shed.
on there, we don't own it, they
Well, the
need to
shed
go
we
to the
do.
borough.
We own the shed.
We own the shed, we don't own the.
We'll cross the
press
press
box.
box off.
Yeah, we do own the shed. The material in there is ours. I said
Correct.
Gary's the school representative.
And I guess my biggest concern is not so much that they're using it, just that they're gonna accept responsibility that if they break it, they replace
Well,
it.
we're-
That's
yes.
all I'm after,
Yes.
you know.
While we're on that, while Mr. Schuster's still here in that softball field, I was there Sunday, walking my dog Vinny, and right when the rain came, stayed there for a little bit, because couldn't move. And rains came, you know how the field's set up, the high spot is center field. The water came right through the infield over second base, that very expensive red dirt got washed all
Right
the way
where the park
down,
lot.
to about 3/4 down to the soccer pitch, out that gate by third base. Some of it went out the first base dugout side. But I decided, because I was very suspicious, I got out in the rain and went to the French drain pipe along third base. Sunday, during the downpour, there's no water coming out. It's either plugged
I would say it's probably plugged.
or the drain itself. I can see gravel there, so it should work. Probably the long-term solution, which would be very expensive, would be to regrade that field. So it's just very frustrating to think that a field built on the top of a plateau is underwater. And the one drain that was put in isn't working. I think, and you would know how to work with the borough to do this, is my opinion, you know more about it than I do. They need another one on the outside of that fence, between the two fences, from center field heading north, to catch that water before it runs from center field into the infield.
Yeah, that whole outfield is a mess.
Yeah, that's a high
I
spot.
mean, there's a lot of
That's where last spring we
valleys
had
and
puddles.
holes and,
But the thing is, we put that dirt on there and then it just gets washed off.
right.
And come next spring, that's gonna be the main issue again, is they gotta have that dirt
Correct,
to level
correct.
in.
And the outfield's gonna become an issue also,
Yeah.
because it's a swampy mess up there, swampy mess.
Yeah,
A girl twisted her ankle warming up there this year,
yeah.
she slipped in the mud. So. That field needs a lot of tender love and care.
Well, I would hope that something maybe between now and fall would be addressed before next spring.
Are we allowed to just do whatever we want, or do we need borough permission?
No, we gotta have borough permission, but we have to pay for it.
Well, I knew that.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking, well, the sort of the dirt we have to get anyway. I don't wanna just keep buying it and have it washed away.
Right.
The French drain isn't that expensive. One, it's plugged,
Equipment, if you have the right equipment, it's very cheap,
yeah.
and the borough has the equipment, so.
Hopefully somehow we can figure that out. That with the drain that's there, it's probably plugged.
I think it's
I
absolutely.
guess someone shut
yeah.
something up there or,
Well, it was probably perforated pipe put in there with gravel put on top of it. And that was done probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago. I don't remember exactly how, maybe more. I'm probably being soft. And that dirt, because it's so fine, it's like sand, it's definitely gonna fill them holes,
yeah.
you know. But I'm not so sure putting a drain there is the answer, you
Well, I
know.
don't know.
We gotta stop the water before it gets
Yeah,
over there.
that's the idea, right, that's what
Right,
I'm saying, yeah,
right.
get it out of there.
Well, I know that the borough, I mean, the recreation fund, there's money there for that specific work.
Right.
You can get through to them to get it done. How's, is Meritor
Well, that's right,
still-
aren't you on the recreation committee? Oh, yeah, we are in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, except you don't meet anymore, since certain people took it over. Is Merit Book, is it still, are they still using it? Merit Book?
Yeah, but that's not, no school.
The
functions.
school functions, no.
No, okay. I just wondered if they actually did the grading and stuff correctly there, that we could trust them to say, hey, this is this way, or we really want to be collaborating and have you, somebody else going out there saying, this is what we'd like to see happen, and see if they'll do what we'd like, instead of them, because if they didn't do a good job on Merit Book, you don't really want to let them just go in and
I don't
do the
know,
work
I
again.
think they subbed somebody out to do that, I don't think the borough did that field itself, somebody came in and did it. And I haven't been up there for a while, but I know the first year that it was done,
Last year.
it actually did
Okay.
work pretty well, but,
Merit Book's a little different, it is in the hole.
yeah.
Right,
And it's a tremendous amount of drainage that's needed. This one's at the top of the hill.
right.
There should not be water there.
Yeah, it needs a lot of grading.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you're on the recreation committee, maybe you
A good word.
can get them to at least meet.
Sure. When you gonna meet? Give me a day. Time.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
actually, the right way to do it would be to get somebody like from the sand company out in Slippery Rock, where we
Yeah.
buy our dirt. Get a professional from there
Exactly.
to meet up there with the proper people and say, to make this field drain right, this is what you gotta do.
I agree. Yeah.
That's the right way to do it. You know, just getting every guy's opinion isn't.
That's why I wanted you to address it. Yeah, I knew you would have it right in. I knew that.
Can we get something like that and then submit it?
I can call them tomorrow. You know, I don't know if I'll have the bid, the
Right.
estimate, but I can call Slippery Rock tomorrow and set up somebody to come up there and give us a nice, good estimate of how much it would be to fix the outfield, grade the infield, make it all the way everybody wants it, and then
If you can do
produce it.
that, then it will be up to Renee to figure out
Well, I can go talk
which
to-
councilman she can let take credit for it, and then we'll get it done.
I'll call them tomorrow.
Get their picture in, and
There's a few of them.
it'll work.
Okay, let me know when you got it.
Rich, remind me.
Note to self.
Okay, paving bids and flooring bids, we just went over those. Bid tabulations for football and boys basketball programs will be submitted for board consideration. Interim healthcare contract, we're recommending that a contract be renewed with interim healthcare to provide skilled nursing services for AM and PM bus runs for the 15-16 school year. Services are required by language written in at least 2 students' IEPs, cost $42 per hour, 4 to 6 hours per day.
Is that the same as last year?
Yes. Textbook material disposal. According to the policy, we have all our older K to 4 reading texts. We did call Follett and they aren't taking those, so we usually donate those to Brother's Brother down in Pittsburgh. And they will send them wherever they're needed overseas, or so we're asking for permission to do that. Student affairs, number 1, it's on here, but we'll double check, but I don't think that one really needs board approval, because it's in Pittsburgh for PTI, 15 to 20 students with Mr. Golby. So that one may not be on Thursdays, because it's within there's like 8 to 2, within 50 miles down in Pittsburgh. Alicia Greco is requesting the concert choir, students to Walt Disney World, Florida, perform for Downtown Disney. The choir has been selected to perform April 15, 2016. Will travel by bus departing Wednesday, April 13th, after school at 4 and return Monday at 2 p.m. Will be paid for by student-raised funds. I believe you have all the information that was given on that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Where is the testing during that period?
I don't think I have it on my calendar.
That's what's up on there.
I don't know. I got it on my calendar in my office. It changes every year, so I have to look.
If you could check on that.
Yep. Athletic trainer agreement, 15-16 school year. Athletic trainer agreement will be submitted for board consideration for regular meeting. Terms and conditions, an $8,000 annual cost remain unchanged from the previous years. The ambulance agreement, Medevac has submitted ambulance coverage agreement for 15-16 school year. It's an increase of $6.50 for a junior high and junior varsity football event and $8 for varsity. Calls for every patient to be attended by a minimum of one emergency medical technician and one paramedic. Each vehicle will be classified as an advanced life support vehicle equipped with cardiac monitors, defibrillators, approved drugs and fluids. Price differential between junior high and JV events, varsity events is based on the length of time the equipment and personnel are required to be available. Beaver Valley Intermediate Unit Agreement for students that attend New Horizons. For those 3 students, it costs $119,400. Human Services Center. Administration recommends contracting with Human Services for elementary mental health services. 2015-16 school year, $5,500, which includes $1,000 for peer leadership, which is a $200 increase from 14-15. PA Youth Survey Agreement, we're asking, we do this every 2 years for grades 6, 8, 10, and 12. Survey students for about the youth's knowledge, attitudes, and behaviors around alcohol, tobacco, drug use, violence, and other problem issues. The survey results are shared with the district and be used to assist in prevention, planning, grant writing, reporting in the accreditation process. There's a letter that goes home for parents that want to opt out also. So 15-16 PA pre-counts school district collaboration agreement between the Ellwood Area School District and Lawrence County area pre-K counts. Lawrence County for the 15-16 school year will be presented for board consideration at the regular meeting. It outlines the duties and responsibilities of each entity with the implementation of the pre-K counts classes at Hartman. Summer Kindergarten Readiness Program, agreement between Lawrence County Community Action Partnership and the district for a summer kindergarten readiness program. The program will serve not more than 20 Head Start eligible children with the goal of maintaining or increasing their school readiness. For kindergarten, the agreement outlines the duties and responsibilities of each entity implementing the program. Cafeteria payment methods. The district purchased a new point of service cafeteria software. Includes a secure web-based payment system called payforit.net. Software allows parents to fund student meal accounts online. There's a convenience fee of 3.9%. So, for example, 78 cents to be added to a $20 account that they would deposit. For a student account with a credit card, $1.75 with an electronic check. Parents are not required to utilize the program. We're also seeking board direction on changeless high school cafeteria system that would make the serving lines more efficient. The system would require students to provide exact change for their purchase. No change would be provided and any excess payment would be added to the student's account for use as a subsequent meal. A lot of times the kids will come in with a $20 bill and say, put $8 on my account, give me 12 back, and now they're, so they do that a lot. Now it's just a changeless system. If they bring 20 in, the $20 is going on their account. So we will send letters out to parents and all calls telling them that. So the parents with this access also, they'll be able to see exactly their balances, and they'll be able to see exactly what the kids are ordering too. So they'll be able to log right in, how much money's in the balance. So the changeless system just makes it a little more efficient at the line, so if they bring cash in, that cash goes right on their balance. But again, we'll let the parents know that ahead of time.
How can you do that? That seems like if somebody has, you know, they don't want that money going on the account.
Bring it, you know, if they want $10 on their account, bring $10 in. So it's like they're using it as a change system, like our cafeteria. They give it 20, buy a $2 meal, we gotta give 18. So we want them to, it's a changeless system. It makes it just more efficient to run through the lines. So everything's done almost like, you know, debits and credits instead of cash. So when they bring the money in, it goes on their account.
I think a lot of parents will appreciate that, to know that it's actually going towards their meal account and not ending up in their pocket and going who knows where on the way home.
We'll inform the parents, like I said, there'll be letters and call calls that'll go home and tell the parents that if they bring money in, you know, that amount's going on their account.
Have
So
to
prepare.
save a ton of time in the checkout line. I mean, I think that would speed up things significantly.
They don't have enough time to eat as it is.
So that's what that changeless system is. A revised policy, well, we finally got the 819, the suicide awareness, prevention, and response policy to be revised. It's enclosed in your current policy, and the next board meeting will approve it, so this is the first reading of it. Ellwood is the suicide prevention coordinator for the district. So we also have to have curriculum in place for students and teachers to inform them of the whole process. PSBA dues, just some informational, usually costs us around $6,000 for PSBA. They are also offering an enhanced service for another fee, so the total cost would be $84,497 to belong to PSBA and all these services that they offer. I believe that is it, Mr. President.
So what's the additional $2,400? What are we getting out of it? I tried to look at that and I didn't understand.
I'm not, if you remember when we had the retreat, the videos, the Learn Process District team, the Learn Pass, and that's part of it where board members can watch videos on some educational stuff. Yeah, it's on that last page. Board evaluation, consult, policy maintenance, comprehensive subscription package. You guys probably get all the emails. I think part of it also is they'll start to do more and more opportunities for leadership and coming into boards and stuff like that. So if you want to go with the 6,000.
Are you recommending we go with the enhanced?
Yeah, just because I'd like to use them a lot more, get them more involved in our, in the district.
Will we be able to just log on then as like school directors and get those videos without having
believe so.
to be here or using
Right.
a certain computer?
Right.
How
I haven't
would
looked into those as much because we don't have them, but
I remember, isn't that what that lady said when she was here, that
Yeah, she gave
those
us like
things
a
were
sample.
available?
right.
First thing I've got from PSBA in a year.
Got some feelings in the board in favor of that?
I would like to have access to that info. Great.
Some other, the communicator updates. If you saw my email today, we walked in this morning and there was a basketball camp going on that we didn't know anything about. I went and talked to Jimmy Joe, and he said, we didn't get approval last year, but we double checked, and it was Coach Oviel got approval before he took over, so he didn't, his comment to me was, we didn't do it last year, I didn't know I had to do this, I'm sorry, he apologized. I said, so we'll try to get it in, for Thursday, but it's a booster, basketball camp, that they run every year, that, he just didn't realize that we needed to get that in, so it's already underway. And the Ellwood City Bread Basket Program, any person or group wishing to support the Ellwood City School District Bread Basket Program can send their donations to the Community Foundation on 7 West Street, Suite 301, Sharon, PA. Donations should include a letter or a memo directing the funds to be deposited into the account to benefit the Ellwood City School District Bread Basket Program.
And just a little bit of an update to that, probably mentioned, we are a summer feeding site, which starts June 22nd. Orange County Social Services will be bringing down meals. And they'll be dropping the meals down here. They'll obviously be providing a person to oversee the program for us. We're going to feed out of the home ec room. And on Fridays, they're going to continue our take food home for the weekend, the bread basket program. And I assume the way they're going to do that is bring extra food on Fridays so those kids that eat will be given a sack of food to take home for the weekend. So
they're actually taking that on, not.
during the summertime.
Okay, because I haven't heard anything about that
No,
yet.
that's what's
through our
going on.
program. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I mean,
that's
I was
what
kind
we're
of surprised, they just said, we're gonna continue it. I said, okay. Because I didn't know if anybody within the school system was doing it, and then when I checked with the principals, they said no, so
It
they're
must
gonna go ahead and do that.
The county then.
Yes, you're right.
Okay. Good.
All right, anything under, new business from anyone?
Yeah, I had something. At graduation, where that statue is for, Sabo, is kind of in an odd place. Would it be possible, without damaging or the integrity of the auditorium, to close off the middle doors and put that center and put a spotlight on it?
You mean move it over to in front of the doors?
Get rid of, just put a piece of plywood, don't take the doors out, cover the doors up, because we never use them anyway, they're always closed.
I mean, anything's possible, so I don't wanna be negative, but, I mean, we put a lot of thought into where we put that to begin with, you know? That's one heavy statue, man.
I know, but it looks like it's out of place where it's at.
Can we follow up with the architect to see if we could block that method of egress first before you even get into the long discussion? I mean, there might be, given the number of people that would be in that auditorium at any given time, we might have to have that specific number of doorways. But I can follow up with
Is
him.
it something you could? 'Cause
Yeah,
I think
sure.
it would be much more distinguished to be someplace where it looks
It's
like
not
it
centered.
belongs. Yeah. Thanks, Rich.
Anything else?
The only other thing I had was the volunteer issue. I don't know if you all got an email from Kathy McCommons. The state kind of lowered the requirements for volunteers and what they're required to do as far as clearances. They actually made it free for them to get their state background in child abuse, but the FBI one's always the one that's in question. That one's like $37. So Kathy emailed me, I think she emailed Renee, and then Renee forwarded that to all of you. We do have a policy on volunteers. I think I've included the form that we use, and then the state came out with their own form. I guess the question is, do we want to require volunteers to get FBI background checks? If you require that, then all the signing off is a moot point as far as if they've lived here 10 years and if they haven't committed any of those 20 or so violations. We do have a lot of volunteers, especially in the elementary. Our current policy has kind of 2 levels of volunteers. We have like an assistive that doesn't need an FBI, and we have like a more like a coach volunteer that would require an FBI background checks. The assistive one, the way it's kind of written in the policy, if I remember, is kind of says like they're not really left home alone with kids, they're like assisting in a classroom with a teacher there. We always can't guarantee that though. Some of the parents, you know, or even our volunteers even say, you know, we're alone with kids, like even with they had that fun day, you know, a lot of volunteers were with kids separately. So I guess it's just, if we require background checks for volunteers, we're gonna need to change that policy. So that's, I guess, the question up to the board is, if we wanna just make it blanket, you know, statement that volunteers need FBI, all 3 clearances, you know, then we need to change that policy to read that. They kind of left that up to the districts. If you want to have them fill out that state form, if they've lived here 10 years, then we got to check to see if they've lived here 10 years. And the thing I didn't like about it was that I swear that I have not named as a perpetrator but found a report of a child abuse within the past 5 years, as defined by the Child Protective Services. So,
Well, if I understand that correctly, if you've lived here 10 years, the other 2 checks will cover what the FBI check covers. So you're basically blanketed by the other 2. You don't really need the FBI.
No, because the FBI covers out of Pennsylvania.
out of state.
But that's what it's saying. Oh, so you're saying if it was before the
I
10
could
years?
clarify, I'm on vacation.
And I thought they only lowered the price to $8 instead of 10. I
It
don't
was
think
$8
it's
for-
free.
I think it was 8 for,
Now, I would recommend you make them all get all 3
All 3.
clearances, because I mean, the laws are for the law abiding. If I have bad intentions in my heart, I'm not gonna tell you that I was charged with sexual abuse of kids in Florida. And I'm not gonna, you know, if I wanna do something bad, I'm not gonna tell you that I had some prior history. So you're only gonna pick up the people that are honest and didn't have trouble, so.
that's what that is. Yeah, that's what that one is, the FBI one.
I think we should move all 3.
Yeah, I didn't even like the fact that the state low.
Well, he took $2 off them. I think they went from 10 to 8. That's what I read.
Was it 10 to 8 for?
You know why,
10 to 8 for-
what's happening is they're just getting overwhelmed. Even with the
We have a hard
mandated
time
reporting,
getting
they're getting,
parents to pay the
they're getting
$20.
flooded with
So when you get
reports,
47.
child lines, most of
We're
the
gonna lose
new
a
ones of
volunteer.
which aren't being founded. And that's why there's talk of even changing the mandatory reporting. They found that they swung the pendulum after the Sandusky thing was so far. Now they can't keep up with it.
I think Kathy just wanted one way or the other, just so she can start to get her people informed with, you know, which one we want to do. So if we switch to a all volunteer, all 3 clearances, I'll have a revised policy for you Thursday.
I would support that.
What's the total cost?
I thought it was, I heard today that it was free for volunteers, but they lowered it 8 to,
They
for
lowered it from 10 to 8.
Yeah.
That's what
for
I was.
everybody?
Or that's what I heard.
See,
After
Kathy, for
July
some reason, said-
25th, it went from $10, it is $10 now, from 10 to 8. He took $2 off each of the first
I
2.
forwarded that
clearances.
article to her, and she said, yeah, that's great, it's gonna save each one of our members $20.
I don't know how she said that.
That was her response back to me.
I think she
So I
got
just
the
assumed that,
fingerprinting. Was she referring to the fingerprinting?
no, the 2, the child abuse and the state police.
The last thing I read was $20 savings.
That's what I thought.
The letter I
That
got
was in Pittsburgh.
was
Right.
10 to 8. It went from $10 down to 8. The governor was lowering it, not making it free. I mean,
For
they got-
volunteers?
Yeah, that's the paper that I got, the email I got.
Okay.
But
I'll
I,
check that.
yeah, and then what, FBI 27?
27.
So that's $45 per person if they're like 8 apiece.
How would they even
No.
regulate that if somebody says they're a volunteer, gets their clearances, and then becomes an employee of
They
something?
have to get new, if you, like, if you were to change, if someone were to leave here and go to another district, they would have to get new clearances.
all over.
Yep. Every new job you get, you have to get new clearances. Now they made it, we have to get them every 3 years, so we started that whole process.
I think I said, really, so you can't, why can't you use the clearances?
Every 3 years, you have to get new ones.
Oh, okay, I
Yeah.
thought you
No,
meant
no,
like if you
no.
changed jobs tomorrow, you had to get new clearances.
Sure, yeah, I do. If I were to go to some other district, I have to get new clearances,
Really?
so. All right, we'll place on new policy, we're not on new one.
Speaking of policies, the one that I had emailed you before I left, Joe, about the vacation, I never heard anything back, so I'm not sure exactly where that got left. but our policy stated, to fill the rest of the board in, with, our particular vacation, when we took Mark out of school, we took him out the last 2 weeks of school, and, the policy in our manual states that if a parent takes a child out of school for an educational vacation, that they cannot be held against the child. But our handbook, our student handbook for elementary, states that you cannot take a child out of school for the last 10 days of school. So we have conflicting policies. Now, I understand, he doesn't, maybe the school district, the administrators don't want kids in elementary to be taken out the last 10 days of school. And if there's no testing that goes on in elementary, I'm not sure why that's in there, but our policy states very clearly that the kid cannot be, it's the word I'm looking for, I lost it already. It can't be held against them. So basically that the days have to be considered excused absences and not unexcused absences, which in the realm of things, it's not a big deal. But I just think that our handbook should reflect what our policy states, not just about my son's particular case. So I don't know whether or not, in regards to the student handbook, that needs to be changed, or if that's kind of like a guideline you would like to keep in place for elementary. But if a parent does state that they're taking them out for an educational trip, we can't hold that against them. So I feel like there's a conflict between what our handbook is saying and what our policy states. And since we're on policy subjects, it reminded me again. So I'm not sure how you guys would like to fix, arrange, leave up to discretion.
I guess has that been in there a while, the 10 day?
Quite some time, actually. I'm more familiar with the high school.
That's right. And I don't know, is it in the high school one?
I think it is.
I mean, for that it would be, because you guys have testing those last days of school, but elementary, there is no testing. So I don't even know why it's in there, and as it works out, the last few days of school is a good time to take your kid out, because you're not really missing anything in elementary. Lots of fun things that are going on, but, not testing. So I just think that they need to be balanced. So I don't know, to me, it should be taken out unless you wanna leave it in there. Then anybody who is taking their kid out those last days, you have to give it to them anyway, because the policy states that we do. So, I mean, it's contradictory.
We have to have a policy change. We're gonna, well, we've already approved the elementary handbook, I believe.
That's why I asked you
Yes.
about it early on, so
Yeah.
that it could be changed for the next year's policy.
Amended? Amended.
Elementary principals look at it, give you a recommendation.
Okay.
I have one thing that I'd like to, I don't know if this is the time to do it or not, but I have a concern with the rest of our schedule for the rest of the year for our board meetings. It's kind of conflicting with low tech, the way we have it set up now. And is there a problem with us reverting back to the way we originally had it?
We just have to advertise the change.
You did second Thursday followed by the,
First one?
I'm not sure we didn't do that,
No, it's a week later.
There's a couple.
because of holidays or something. Yeah, we can, I think what you run into maybe, and I have to look at it because I don't recall, but you run into in October, Columbus Day, where you only would have one meeting. We can do that, combined
We've
meetings.
done that for years, so.
Right.
Oh, that's fine, we can do that. It just
Yeah,
seems like
it
it's a little
seems like
easy.
it's conflicting now.
Okay.
When we have our meetings, it's the same week as vote tax.
Okay, so then we'll put
So we don't
together,
have any representation.
okay. So you want to schedule where, even if you have single meetings?
Superintendent of record.
Okay. All right, we can do that.
So we talking
This is the
July?
third Monday.
No, July, it's still the second.
The first year, I thought we were good, because it didn't, I thought when I take over in August, I didn't see any conflicts, because I think I was good from August
July is
on.
okay.
Yeah.
July's early.
June we did,
July's
because of,
9, right?
Those were-
That's what keeping that.
With the
4
tech.
months, yeah.
September is not, September's the 14th and the 17th. October's back on track. And November
That's
looks
because of
like
Labor
we're
Day,
good.
probably.
Well, they do the third.
Yeah. So
Third.
September's
They
the
do
only
third.
one.
Third,
And so the months where they're the Monday, the first Mondays in the second week is where the
Yeah,
conflict.
Right.
right, the one in September is Labor Day, that's why.
That'll be the same one.
Yeah, we've done it in the past.
So do we want to advertise, we'll just look at the schedule and see where we have that conflict and then schedule combined
One
meetings.
Right.
We just have to advertise the
Yeah,
changes.
I guess then, if I may, while we're talking about board schedule, I guess we traditionally cancel July meetings. I don't think we'll be able to do that this year because of the hiring that will be going on. But do you want that to be a combined meeting? Because I think that falls the Monday after, which
6th and 9th.
is fine. I mean,
My thing is, just
You have all
realize,
those interviews. How are you gonna combine those all into one night?
yeah, hopefully we'll have maybe 4 of them done by then. So that's 12 interviews, or at some point, either 6 one night, 6 the other. If you go to one meeting,
Yeah.
if you're ready to do 12 interviews,
Yeah.
so
Are we going later in July, or are we still holding?
July 6th and 9th.
No, it's that little bit back on schedule.
I think, didn't Matt ask about maybe making the Thursday or Friday? If we could do that, so he could come, or maybe he was gonna try to do the Monday. Because I know he said something about changing meetings because he's in Harrisburg, for him to be able to come up. If he did it on a Friday or a Monday, he could try to make the meeting. But,
I can't make the 10th, I'm leaving that day.
maybe he'll be I just remember him saying something. So September's the only one that there's a real problem with, and that's because of Labor Day. Can we meet on Tuesdays that week instead, like do a Tuesday and a Thursday? Do the 8th and the 10th instead of the Monday since it's Labor Day?
the board wishes we can.
I mean, that way it stays on that week.
September.
Well, yeah, in the past, what we did is just combine.
We combine the meetings.
So it would just be one meeting on
It'd
the
be
10th?
Thursday.
Yeah.
Because it couldn't still be on the 17th, it still had to just go up, we still have to move up a week.
It's saying, have a combined meeting
On the 10th.
unless we have some full agenda. Hopefully, we would.
Okay.
So I-
Change.
So we're gonna be trying to change the meeting in September to the 10th.
All right, anything else under new business before we go back to the visitors?
We're gonna keep the 6th and the 9th.
Keeping the 6th and the 9th.
All right, go back to the visitors, Mr. Cunningham, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, it was touched on earlier, I had it written down to bring up, and Rich will know the exact, what's the, is it 18 would be the oldest for these meals that are being furnished? Is that right? Is that the age limit?
That's what's
Or
in
is
the
it-
paper.
Or is
It was
it,
18.
It is, that's
Yeah.
what it said.
is it, and it doesn't matter what, it's not like reduced.
No.
It's not just those kids, it's for anybody that's in school that's, I don't know if you saw that little bit of a program last night on the community that took a bus around. It's kind of a unique idea.
That's what they're doing.
I mean, this actually went to each playground or whatever and was able to do it, so maybe this is,
Well,
okay.
they're on the north side of town, they're good stopping at bus stops,
Yeah.
handing out bag lunch. Here, they're gonna drop them off, kids can come in and get them.
Because after I saw that, then I wrote it down for tonight here. It's like, you know, there's so many kids out there that just don't get them in,
Ours is
Sack.
especially on the weekends.
I don't know what.
And, one other thing,
18.
do we have, I read it in the Newcastle News tonight, is the VOTEC, or is it a career and technical center? What is that was the,
Orange County.
Career Technical Center.
what is it?
Career and Technical Center.
Oh, it is the career and technical now. I hadn't seen where that had ever really changed, and that was the gripe with the guy that wrote in too. So, and down towards where you had your ambulance agreement, stuff like that, will this will your agreement be, is the doctor still Dr. Rahal? Will that be approved, or where?
It's in January they do that. He's in January.
He's a January one. Good enough. Thank you.
All right, if there's nothing further, we will adjourn and go into executive session for personnel.
Somebody's been down your street, and when my husband's trying to
Record
call
that.
it.
Every second of it.